going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you.
Yeah, I know I forgot to go live first. That was my bad. Welcome.
What's up?
Welcome to.
What's up,
Go ahead.
everybody? I'm Fu. What's up,
I'm
everybody?
Jay.
I'm Fu.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Main One, and we are Unplugged Free Your Mind, a show where we discuss an array of topics, current events, and world news from an unbiased, unfiltered, and unplugged point of view. So, welcome everybody to our special Friday edition. Hope everybody's week is going okay. Spring break is almost over. It's the last day.
Yeah. I'm just happy. I'm just happy I just got my name right. I wasn't muted. Did y'all notice? Did anybody don't say nothing? Hello?
Well, you got it right. I kind of messed up. I didn't start the broadcast. I ain't go live. I just had the title going.
Oh.
I looked up and I said, "Oh, I ain't go live." So see, this is why food run it. This is why food drives the car.
See, the producer is needed.
The producer. So what's going on?
I mean, I don't know how long. I don't know if I want to say anything until I'm stable and like stationary, because y'all know how I go with me. When I'm on the road, the reception be horrible.
Yeah. Right now you good though. Right now you good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because I guess I don't mind starting per se. I'm highly upset. I was actually in tears earlier with the DMX situation because DMX did not OD. DMX was taken away from us because he took that shot, and it was less than a week ago. And the fact that they can push the narrative of him ODing, and people will run with it because of his past, I find that as a problem, because the script always is assassinate the person's character. You assassinate the person's character and they're going to believe it. And I hate that, because X was the only artist that I can really honestly and truly say where I felt him.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I really couldn't feel his passion and everything when it came to his music. And for him to be gone, considering it going out this way, is horrible, because we all know too, he was one of the artists that was speaking against the music and was telling the truth. So for them to have a chance to take him out, they jumped on it immediately. Right. And nobody can deny that. But like I said, the fact that people are still running with the story, and I'm seeing people, especially on my Facebook page, still saying that, oh, he OD'd. No, he didn't. Yeah. He was just on Drink Champs. He was fine. Yeah. Nobody was talking about it. And you could tell, come on now, when the hell has DMX ever been fat? DMX always was in shape.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
So I think go ahead. My
bad. No, it's all good. I think we just, let's, give a brief moment of silence for DMX, condolences to his family, family and loved ones, my heart goes out to him. Everybody was a fan of him. Yeah. So, we're just, we don't want to touch on it too much. We got our guest, I'm waiting. She's waiting. So, I just want to introduce Tamara. I don't know her personally, but I found her by accident, to be honest, because I just happened to be scrolling on Facebook, not on Facebook, on YouTube. And I just kept seeing her suggestion coming up. I don't know if it was just the universe working in his way, saying that, maybe you need to talk to somebody or whatever. But anyway, so I reached out to her, and we had a good conversation. And so when I thought, we were talking about, ideas for the show, and we were talking about, we wanted to talk to a therapist. She's the first person I thought about.
Take it over.
So I'm not going to steal her shine. I want her to, have the floor and full autonomy to, tell her story and, get everything out there. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Miss Doctor, or I don't know what she wants me to call her, but I'm going to bring her in, and then she can tell us what she wants us to call her.
That's so awesome. Tamara's fine. Thank you so much.
Hey, Tamara, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
That's Jay and
Hi, Tamara. Hi,
Fu.
Jay. Hi.
How you doing, doctor?
Good. How are you?
Yeah,
I'm hoping to
I'm
get some
just
better reception in a second.
I'm so excited. I'm glad you were able to just take the time out with us to just have a real intimate conversation and
Thank
kind of
you.
get to know you, who you are, what you do, and let our audience know who you are and what you do. So
Yeah.
I'll be quiet and I'll just let you go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. So, my name is Tamara, and I am a licensed child and adolescent as well as family therapist. I'm internationally certified as a trauma therapist. So, that's where you found me, Jermaine. You found me on my YouTube channel, which kind of grew out of my private practice. I've been in the field for 13 years. Treating a variety of mental health and behavioral conditions. And then I opened up my private practice about 4 years ago. And that's where my YouTube channel just kind of blew up once I opened up my practice. And so, yeah, I do videos Mondays, Wednesdays, and I think Sundays as well, if I'm not mistaken. I forget every time. And I talk a lot about intergenerational trauma because I think it's just so needed, especially in the African American, Hispanic, and even some of the other ethnic communities. It's just a topic we don't hear enough of. So my practice and my YouTube channel was built out of, learning about intergenerational trauma.
Okay, great. So you told us just a little bit. So just expand a little bit more on how you got started.
Mhm.
I really want to know, the because in your bio it says you specialize in family and child trauma. So
Yeah.
why those specific? You kind of briefly touched on it, but can you just
Mhm.
expound on why those specific areas?
Yes, absolutely. So, when I started 12 years ago in the field, I forgot where I was. I might have been in the mental health hospital, treating adults. And the more I would do psychotherapy with the adults, I realized that a lot of their issues stemmed from childhood, especially amongst particular ethnic groups, African Americans, and even Hispanics. A lot of their trauma and mental health issues and behavioral problems start in childhood. So I think that's kind of where I began to expand. And I think I grew that deep-seated interest from that place to become a child and adolescent and family therapist. But then even in my own personal life as well, like I have issues in my family from trauma, mental health, behavioral issues, and just the hard road of just trying to live life, period. I think it's hard for all of us just to exist sometimes. So my own personal life and then working with adults, I think it pushed me in the direction of children, teens, and families.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
that's a synopsis.
Yeah, great. That was terrific. So, why do you think most people are reluctant to speak to a professional? Because especially in
Mhm.
our community, it's like taboo.
Yes.
We hold a lot of stuff in, and and that ends up turning into trauma because you're holding in
Hmm.
all this pain and all this kind of stuff, and you don't
Yeah.
you. And it's a stigma around, especially the Black community, of talking to somebody.
Hmm.
So, in your experience, why do you think that is?
My goodness. I mean, I think I can speak personally and professionally for this question. I'll start personally. My family is very split down the middle. So we are multi-ethnic. So we have African American, German, Native American, and Caucasian roots. So like my whole family is like a map, you know. In my family, there's so many different attitudes, primarily the African American side, like the really traditional Black side. It's so many views about mental health that's so incorrect. Be strong, you can do it. Don't let your weaknesses show. Men don't cry. African American people don't seek out counseling because they can deal with their own problems, or go to your pastor, those kind of theories. But even aside from my family, I think just in the Black community in and of itself, I think there's a lot of fear of who the other person's going to be on the other side. So the therapist, why would someone of color go to the oppressor for counseling?
Mhm.
It's just it's unfathomable for some African Americans. It's a little hard to trust when you've been so abused.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think from my experience, not from my experience, I think a lot of people are afraid to address those issues because maybe it forces you to kind of look back on your life in places where you've compromised yourself
Yeah.
in some ways. So that's kind of hard for people to look in that mirror and say, hey, this. I look around and this is my fault. It's hard for people to say it's my fault. Things that happen in your life is my fault. So I think that's where a lot of I don't want to go talk to somebody because it's going to force me to say, yeah, it's my fault. It's going to point the finger right back at me.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So you spoke, you said that you right now you do a lot of intergenerational trauma. Exactly what's that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm so glad you asked that. Intergenerational trauma could be racial or it could be family oriented. So it's a trauma that started way back with our ancestors and our great aunts and our great grandparents, and it's impacted them in such a way that they've internalized the pain and they have become psychologically and emotionally unstable. And they pass that on to their children. And so then it gets passed down for generations.
So what are some common issues that you've seen? I mean, I know you can't get into like specific things specifically,
Sure.
but just some commonalities from one family to another.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think sexual abuse is a big one. That's one that I've seen in the Black community a lot, and it's covered because it's really hard to, number one, open up about it, and number two, it's really hard to get that kind of a damage fixed within a family because sometimes it's just so buried. Another issue would be incest. That's another intergenerational issue. Someone in the history being a slave, that's another piece of intergenerational trauma. I'm sorry?
I was saying, wow. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even someone being a slave down in our ancestry and that pain and sorrow being passed down to us, that can be intergenerational trauma. Being physically abused and emotionally abused within the family through multiple generations, that's intergenerational trauma. So it can be anything that's unresolved that has changed the structure of a family over time.
Yeah, no, because you know what? That, I mean, just it happens. It's in a lot of families. But the taboo thing is to go see a therapist. Most and I even think about my own family and how I was raised. It was like speak with your pastor, your higher up person, your spiritual advisor or whatever. And I'm just like, well, why not go and speak with a therapist? For some, I can understand why, because, first, can you afford to go and speak with a therapist? Do you have what you need to go and to pay for that? So that really does become taboo in that regard.
Yes.
So, I've personally, I've had a therapist before, and anytime I think that I need to go there, I go there.
Yes.
It's necessary sometimes.
I have a question based on what Jay just said. Jay said, can you afford it? As far as going to a therapist, is a therapy session pretty much covered based on your health insurance?
Absolutely. So, and I think a therapist can do this multiple ways. I'm glad you guys asked that question. So in my private practice, I have like at least 10 insurance companies that I'm contracted with. Some therapists are only contracted with 1 or 2, sometimes as many as myself. But then you can also go in and say, hey, look, I'm on a budget. I can't, but I need your help. Can I give you a flat rate private pay amount? Like, can I pay you $50 a session? And sometimes a therapist will say, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I do it all the time.
I honestly think that a lot of people think that having a therapist is expensive and it's not covered under your insurance. I found that out when I was going through,
Yeah.
my significant other or my ex, that it's available. I was actually working for the state of South Carolina, and it was something that was included the entire time. I had been insured the entire time, and I did not know that I had X amount of sessions available.
My goodness. You know, I just based on that, Jay, I would say if you have insurance, I would call the number on the back of the card and say, I need psychotherapy. Does my benefits cover psychotherapy? And your insurance carrier will say yes or no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which moves me right into something that I had, a couple of questions to ask you. COVID-19.
Yes.
COVID-19, and I think mental health.
Oh.
I went, so it's so ironic. I went to the doctor today, and he's so great. He actually was asking me certain questions. How do you feel? I'm like, physically I feel fine. I think I already had it. I don't know. Who knows?
Yes.
And then he goes, well, how about your mental?
Wow.
Now he's a regular general doctor, GYN. He's everything under the sun.
Yes.
And for him to take time out to ask me about my mental, because he knows I live alone, I'm single, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, he really took time out to ask me that. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, we got this show tonight. That's a great question.
It is good. It is good. Most general doctors don't even ask that.
Yeah.
So like he's on top of everything. So that's awesome.
He is. And I told him, I was like, it's for me, I was okay, because I can do stuff like video chat with my friends. I don't know how many times I was video chatting with Main One and, my friend and my mom and my sister and everything. Like, what do you think about COVID-19? Like last year altogether for a lot of people? I feel like there's going to be a lot of people trying to get over that.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yes. There's so many angles I can tackle this from. I mean, I've worked everywhere over the past 13 years, and I'm going to tell you, this is the most overwhelmed I think I have ever been as a healthcare provider. Like, I am slammed in my practice, and it's me and a secretary. Like, I haven't hired anyone yet, and I'm slammed. I see 52 clients a week, about 100 and something a month. I'm back to back to back to back. I have like 2 minutes for the bathroom. Like, I'm slammed. And it's COVID. It's COVID.
Yes.
I have seen more African-American families step into my practice than ever before. I have seen more divorce than I have ever before.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Honestly, I'm like, okay, is there hope for me? Because you know what I mean? It's like, is there hope? Because I've never seen so much divorce, but I think COVID has caused us to be so close that we realize, oh, we're not as compatible as we thought. So I've seen that. I've seen a lot of depression, suicide, self-harm, like cutting. I mean, COVID has really changed the game for mental health professionals.
Yeah.
Here's my question based on what you said, because I know you're a therapist. Does your practice fall under grief counseling also? Because to me, you also have to factor in people dealing with death per se, and they want to talk to you about it. Then I also think about anybody who may be a drug addict. Anybody who's a drug addict, if they're one of the people that were stuck in the house and they accepted being stuck in the house, their demons come. So I can only imagine when you mentioned about you overwhelmed, what you have to deal with. But I would assume that a lot of it is going to be like grief counseling.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, because I'm a trauma therapist, so I work with grief, loss, trauma, all of that. And you know what? I'm glad you asked that, because there's a lot of clients that come through my practice and say, look, I've gotten hooked on heroin. I've gotten hooked on alcohol. I'm getting a divorce, so now I think I'm going to go jump off a bridge. A woman came into my practice 2 weeks ago and said, I'm looking at that bridge over there, like, help me. And there's way more crisis than I'm used to. And you're right. It's because, most of my clients are grieving. Most of them feel locked down, confused in a world that seems like it's gone absolutely insane.
Yes.
We have massacres occurring as we begin to come out of our homes and out of COVID. You know, there's like shootings everywhere. It seems like on the news every day. I mean, there's so much for us to deal with. And then if you factor into all of it, being African American in this particular system, it just doubles the pressure.
Man.
So
Yeah.
with all that being said, and I want to get back to the Greek part,
Yes.
but I wanted to ask you, how do you keep from bringing? Because you say you see 52 clients a week, over 100 a month. How do you keep
Yes.
from bringing all of these issues that you're hearing and digesting? How do you keep that from your spirit? Keep that from your energy? Do you talk to someone?
Oh, yes, I do. So I
That's
have
good.
to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to. I have someone who mentored me for 6 years when I was starting out, and I still go to him. He's awesome. He's like in his 70s, and I love just like getting under him and saying, help me, help me. I don't know what to do. And then my mother is one, although she's probably sick of me. I talk to her all the time. Mom, can you believe this happened today at the office? The other thing is prayer. Like I have to stay
Mhm.
interconnected with prayer. That's
Mhm.
important to recharge my spirit. And then Jermaine, you know, just by going to my channel, like my YouTube channel
Yeah,
is an outlet for me.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
suggest everybody that's watching, please go to her channel and follow her, because I mean she
Thank
gives
you.
great information. They're not very long clips, but great information. Like I said, that's how I found her. And and
Thank
the
you.
one great thing about her, you know, when me and you talk, I think, you know, communication 101 is listening,
Yes.
and that's what you do a great job at, is listening.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to give you kudos on that.
Oh, thank you.
You know, being, you know, like you say, you talk to some, you know, you see these actors who get into these characters, and you hear about them saying, well, I take them home with me. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I asked you that question, so I can imagine how hard it is for you when somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's just playing a role, a movie for entertainment, when you're
Yeah.
dealing with real life, you know, issues, you know.
Yes.
So kudos again to you. I take my hat off to
Thank
you for what you
you.
do, because that, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to discern, you know, that that would be too heavy for me, because you
Yes.
know I care about people, and I know you
Mm-hmm.
do too, but you do it as a profession. So
Yes, I am. I thank you for that, Jermaine, because I actually, when I first started out, I had to take an entire year off because I got so burned out by everything. So and even now, like I'm dealing with my own stuff. I lost my grandmother last April unexpectedly. We had to do a funeral right in the middle of COVID. You know, I was the executor of her estate and had to do all of that in the midst of COVID. That was like I never want to do it again. You know, I had COVID last year. And then I
Oh,
was
no.
diagnosed. Yes, and then I was diagnosed with celiac disease so many months after that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with celiac.
No. Well,
Um, it's basically a really severe gluten intolerance. And so it's like
okay.
can't eat anything with gluten in it or I'm going to die, I'm going to be sick. So all of that in addition to running a busy practice is a lot. That's a
Wow.
lot.
wow,
Please let everybody know the name of your YouTube channel so they can go check it out.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah,
Um,
I'm about to look it up. I'm about to get it right now and put it in the
Oh,
link.
that's so sweet. Thank you. I don't have a name yet. I should. It's just my name.
Okay,
Okay.
so people can hop on YouTube and just look up Tamara Hill. You have the same name as my sister.
Oh, that's awesome. That's probably why, you know, that's probably why you and I were clicking at the beginning too,
It's a
Jay.
vibe. It's a vibe. You know.
And if anybody's
Yeah.
out there watching right now, if you have any questions, please make sure that you type in your questions. Right now, you actually have a therapist on, so you can hear from a professional. It's cool. It's cool to have conversation with friends and that bitter girlfriend, but they can't give you the advice that a therapist can give you. So
I love that.
yeah, you definitely want to hear from a professional, hands down.
Right.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong. That, you know, again, it's so taboo in our community.
Yeah.
It just is. I remember, you know, when I broke it down to a couple of people that I was going to a therapist, they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine."
Yes.
And just so happened, I moved to New York. This is how the universe works, right?
Yeah.
Just so happened, I moved to New York, and at the very first friend that I made in where I live here in New Rochelle turned out to be my best friend. And guess what? She's a therapist.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's an art therapist. Do you know how many free sessions that I got at happy hour? It was great. It. And she knows it. Her name, shout out to Buffy, by the way. She knows it. But my point is, there's nothing wrong with talking to someone. Like, you got to think outside of the box.
Yes.
You really need.
I agree.
So now that we've talked about, the fact that, COVID is causing stress and this, that, and the third, what are some things that you can give people as far as how to cope? So at this point, I'm not going to say we're at the end, because we are not, but give people just some things to do to cope with the stress.
Yeah, absolutely. I think supplements are essential, and I can actually recommend some things for men and females, for men and women. I would go for women, Ray vitamins, RAE vitamins. They are awesome. They're awesome. Okay. Gluten-free, the list goes on, free, everything free. They are clean and pure vitamins. You can get energy vitamins, hormone balance vitamins, like multivitamins. It's great. Rainbow Light for men. I think a lot of people, especially in the African American community, they feel like we don't need supplements, we don't need vitamins, we don't need protein drinks, we don't need smoothies. We just need to work out, get some sleep, and we're good. And that's not true. Like, there's a reason why we are so tired in our community sometimes, and that's because we don't eat right. We don't take supplements. We don't, you know what I mean? So supplements are essential. Exercise, getting outside and getting some sun, some air. Yes. If you can't get out in the sun, take some vitamin D3. That'll replace the vitamin D that the sun gives you. Sleep is great. Melatonin is great. And then I like what we've been talking about, going to see a therapist, but make sure it's the right one, because if you get the wrong one, it's just going to perpetuate your pain.
So how do you know, like, can you do like background checks? Or I know there's one for doctors where you can go and rate your doctor and get feedback or whatever, but how do you actually know that you have like the right one?
That's a hard one. It's a great question. It's just really hard, because there's either one or two things happening online. One is you have a therapist that doesn't have a profile at all, and you're like, whoa, there's just a number here.
Right.
And then there's the therapist that has all of the recommendations, but when you sit down in the chair, you're like, oh, I don't like you. You know what I mean? So I think, getting there and just kind of letting your intuition tell you what's good, what's not. I think that's the best approach.
And you will, in your opinion, it's okay, like, if you, because I've had that with a regular doctor. I went to a doctor and it just didn't mesh, so I go to another doctor. So it's okay to do that with therapists, right?
Definitely. You might get some therapists to try to pressure you. Do you want to schedule another appointment? And they have a way that they kind of box you in. But you have the right to move on.
Right. Great. Good to hear.
Okay. I'm sitting here because my feelings are hurt, because I'm that dude that I don't take no vitamins.
I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm laughing because
I saw you. I'm like, uh-oh.
Especially Jermaine knows. I don't, but I think I'm a different type of cat though. But I also believe in a lot of natural stuff. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I don't need to take, I don't even take stuff for headaches. I just lay down. I don't do nothing. I don't do.
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah, I don't do absolutely. I haven't taken a vitamin in 20 years. Literally.
That's awesome.
And it's funny you said vitamin D, because now it came out late last year that was one of the things that you can combat the COVID with. And with a lot of African American Black community don't know that we are vitamin D deficient. Because of our melanin in our skin, we don't absorb the sun, especially up north. If you're up north, you're not absorbing the sun, at all, or little to none. But, and a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that until, my doctor said, hey, you're vitamin D deficient. And I was like, what?
I didn't know. Well, I wasn't deficient until I moved to New York.
Yes.
because in Georgia, see, you getting all that good sun. Where y'all at, really? I mean, I'm surprised that you are deficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most South Carolina is but sun.
And everything I've read, as dark as I am, I should be good. But
So I guess the fact that I was caddying and everything like that, and I got more than sun for everybody on the panel. I guess I'm good. I might be glowing with all the vitamin D I got from the sun because
That'll do it
on in. So I guess it is different for everybody, but for anybody out there that's watching right now, please, if you have any questions, you definitely want to go ahead and get those questions answered, because this is your opportunity to even ask yourself, do I need a therapist? Because the question you may ask, like, there's no judgment and everything like that. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but if you like to come on camera, feel free, and we'll definitely get you the link. But when you have somebody qualified like this, and when you feel if the energy is right, that's the other thing too. You could sit down with somebody, even if it's on Zoom. If your intuition ain't right, just sign off, take the L with a little $50 or whatever, and keep it moving, because it's not worth it if they can't help you get to where you need to be.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. So I want to transition a little bit. So let's talk about your book, because I never hear you talk about your book really, on your channel, or I've seen a couple of your interviews, and I've never hear anybody ask you about your book. So tell us a little bit about your book.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Sharon. I don't talk about it because it's so much like around my editor and my publication company and like the publicity and all that stuff. So I can't really talk about it until the book is like final. So the book is coming out in September of 2019 through New Harbinger Publications. They're a mental health conglomerate. So they're like at the top of the game in mental health. And they publish a lot of books under therapists and doctors. And so they found me actually on my YouTube, and they found my practice, and they said, hey, we have a really good idea for you. Would you like to write a book on intergenerational trauma as a multi-ethnic therapist? And I jumped at the opportunity. So the book is basically, it's broken down into two parts. One part is intergenerational racial trauma. So I'm going to be breaking down what racism, prejudice, and discrimination has done to a group of people. And then the other half is intergenerational family trauma. So I'm going to be looking at how racial trauma makes family trauma worse. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to offer some clinical tools on how to manage it.
Okay. Someone Mandy in the comments said teen experience. I'm not sure what she means by teen experience. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, the teen experience.
I'm not really sure, but I know she has a teenager in the house.
Oh, okay. maybe she's asking how to deal with these teens. I got one too. I actually got two. So
I don't want to say that that's what she's talking about, but I do know that she has a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang in there, Mandy.
So
they will switch up on you. They do. I had one in the house too, and it goes one day it's this, and the next day you're like, wait a minute, are you the same person just from 24 hours ago?
Yeah.
Because I guess they're trying to come into their own identities, and Jermaine, it's fresh in your place. You can speak on that one.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, because I think all of us are of age where we didn't have a whole lot of access to things. We didn't have YouTube and the internet and stuff. Growing up, as a teenager, we had the TV, you had cable, and that was kind of monitored because of
mm-hmm.
They just didn't show a lot of stuff on TV. But now you're seeing all kind of things on TV. You're seeing you got YouTube where you got it's no holds barred on YouTube. So just the access that they're getting, influx of information, and some of the information you may not want your kid to see, but
mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's there.
It's there, and you can try to control it as much as you can in your house, but they're going to see it eventually. So, how do you deal with these teenagers that are trying to find themselves through this journey,
Oh,
through the emotional roller coaster, the hormones, all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
In this day
Yeah.
and age of social media, don't forget that.
Yes. Don't
Yeah.
forget that. So I don't know, and I hope this helps with Mandy. I think one of the things I try to do is encourage parents to open their mind to the fact that their teenager may not be acting like this if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic. Like, I think COVID has exacerbated teenage issues a ton. They're already complicated, and then you put COVID on top of that. But for kids who are having issues with just trying to find themselves and behavior and mental health and so forth, I think it's just good to get them a therapist, but it has to be a child and adolescent therapist that they can really click with and open up to. Because other than that, I think most teenagers are just closed off to mom and dad. They don't want to talk. They're irritable. They're emotional. They just want to be left alone to play Fortnite or get on YouTube. So getting them a child and adolescent therapist, I think, is the first step.
Wow. And I think a lot of they don't think we would understand, so they don't want to they don't want to talk to you about it because they feel like you're out of touch.
Absolutely.
As a parent, like you're not going to understand what I'm going through, and I try to express to mine, it's like, hey, I've been where you're at. Maybe not going through all the situations that you're going through, but once upon a time I was a teenager. Way back when I was a teenager. So
Absolutely. I think it's good too to make sure that we understand our kids' social media too. Like, there's this whole thing, I just want to throw it out there, known as Discord. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
no, what's that?
Okay.
Discord.
Jay's like, yes.
What's that?
Yeah.
School me. I don't know.
But you know what? I didn't know that it was something that like teens and younger people was into as of yet. I kind of feel like it's going there. But I follow this guy. I won't say his name, but he's into politics, and he's on every single platform you can name, and Discord is one of them. And
Wow.
you can actually do subscriptions to him if you pay him. You could be the first person on top in the stack. When I mean stack, how your name comes up, and as people come in, your name will stay at the top. And
Yes.
so I've heard it. I'm actually on Discord. I watch him there.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jermaine.
Never heard of it.
It's so,
What y'all talk about?
look, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, honestly, it's like a busy screen, and you're like looking left and right, and like it's so busy. But our kids can find pornography on there. They can find all kind of like X-rated stuff on there. So it's good to know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably want to go ahead and look that one up because again, I did not realize that it was going to be something that more younger people was finding. And it's funny because the person that I follow, he's probably like in his early 30s, and I know a lot of his followers are young people, but they are talking about politics and some are being silly, and when 45 was in office, I mean, they were just going ham on there with 45. So I'm very familiar with Discord, and you are right, it is one of those things to me, Jermaine, it looks like Microsoft DOS, and you just got colors, different colors all over the screen, and you got to know exactly where to go to get the information that you want. What I did not know was they had stuff like the pornography and stuff on there. So you probably want to be looking that one up and get familiarized with it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody should. I mean, it's not a bad. It's not a bad platform, because it's like straight to the point. It's all information, no pictures too much. You can set up. You can be in communities. It kind of reminds me of Reddit a bit.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Reddit.
I agree.
Okay. What's the clinical term y'all give these sickos that like to message little kids, young kids and stuff? What's the clinical term?
Oh man, I either say a narcissist or a sociopath. That's my term for it. And like on my channel, I go through the whole 9 yards of explaining what the differences are. But I think a less clinical term is just a predator.
Yeah. That's what I would say too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My question for you, and I don't know if anybody, any of the viewers would be willing to ask this, is, but how is it from a therapist standpoint, and you said that you deal with trauma,
Mm-hmm.
that someone can prepare themselves for a person that they love to possibly die? It's a difference when
Ooh,
it's a shock. It's a total difference when it's a shock. You get a phone call, whatever,
yeah,
somebody got shot. But when you're dealing with what's going on now, because you have multiple reasons as to why they can, and everybody
yeah.
doesn't have the same mentality, what is your advice for somebody to prepare for that?
Oh my, that is such an in-depth question. So, okay, let me make sure I'm hearing you right. So, how do you help somebody prepare for somebody to die?
Yeah.
I'm saying it like this. One aspect, someone gets sick. I don't say that word because to me I have my own thoughts about it. Someone gets
Yes,
sick, they think because they get sick they're going to die. Then you
yes,
have someone, their parent or grandparent may be in a home and they can't see them, and they feel like, okay, since I can't go see them, they're alone, they're
yeah,
possibly going to die faster. Or someone actually gets the shot and people say, oh man, I
oh,
think they're going to,
yeah.
they might pass away from the shot. So I know it's dynamic, but how can someone possibly prepare to have that type of mindset, or if they have that type
Ooh,
of mindset?
oh man, that's a great question. But I don't know if I have the clinical answer for that. I think it's more of I think it's more of an existential and spiritual issue. Existential meaning we have to come from philosophy, and spiritual meaning we have to come from less of a logical, rational side of things. And I don't think you can prepare yourself, but you can kind of remind yourself that none of us are here to stay. We're passing through. So whatever happens is preordained, it's predestined to occur, because we are not, this is not our final home. Like, we all have to go at some point. Can we prepare ourselves for that death? No. I spiritual issue. My grandmother was sick from January, and then she died in April, and I thought, I was in denial. I thought she would recover. And I don't think, as much as I knew she was sick, I couldn't prepare my psyche for the reality that she was going to die. So I don't think we can prepare, but we can at least come from a place of existential and spiritual knowledge that says we are just passing through. We are not here to stay. Anything we do can lead to a final end. That's really hard to digest.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered that directly. I hope I did.
No. I mean, I don't think it's about answering it directly. I think it's a matter of just hearing it from a different voice, because
Yeah,
it is something hard to digest, because everybody handles death differently. Everybody
yeah,
does. But it
yeah,
depends on your mindset. The same way it also depends on the person who may end up passing away. It varies.
yes,
But for me, the reason why I kind of bring that up is because we there's been a shift since all of this has happened. It
I hear
turned
you.
it changed from when a person dies, people usually say to you, well, is there anything I can do for you? Are you okay? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, as
Yes,
soon as somebody dies, the first thing they ask you, was it COVID? That's not being empathetic, but that's the
yeah,
programming that has happened because of society. And I think that also plays a part in what's going on and how people
yeah.
are having some of these mental issues.
Wow. I get where you're coming from. I do. I mean, I can maybe use my situation. My grandmother died. The first thing, friends asked me, or coworkers, was it COVID? So you're right. No, it wasn't COVID. Again, we're passing through, so everything's not COVID. We still have to die, you know what I mean, no matter what. So I get your point in that sense.
Yeah. I want to talk a little about your counseling session. Your Not your session, but your anchored child and family counseling. What's the significance with anchored?
So, I don't have the picture with me, but there's an actual scripture verse that in the book of Hebrews, and it talks about hope. and it says hope is an anchor to the soul.
Mm.
And I like that. Hope is an anchor to the soul. It's in Hebrews. Hope is an anchor to the soul. And I think when I first started my practice, I thought, you know, we have all these clinics that offer services, but do we offer hope? I don't know if we do. We try. But I think my foundational philosophy is hope anchors the soul. If we could just get you to hope, you know, that's an anchor to hold on, no matter how painful life gets. So that's kind of where the name came from, Jermaine. It kind of grew out of that philosophy and that scripture verse in Hebrews, in the book
Okay.
of Hebrews.
Nice. That's wonderful.
Thank you. I saw you writing it down, Jay. I love it.
And I will be looking it up later.
Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Probably love it.
Want to take a minute to say, if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share. Also, if you're watching, you know, here's your opportunity. You have a licensed professional here to answer any one of your questions. So, you know, this is a safe place. We've created a safe place for everybody to come on and, you know, ask their question. There's no bad question. There's no dumb question. It's, you
No.
know, just to get it, is maybe it's something you need to get off your chest, you know, that you haven't been able to. Here's your opportunity. So please don't hesitate. Don't miss the opportunity that, you know, that you have to with a licensed professional.
Mm-hmm.
So Tamara, where are you located? What state?
I'm Pennsylvania. I'm boring, smoggy, oil-ridden Pennsylvania.
Wow. Well, what can I say? I'm in New York. Enough said.
Oh, you're in the popular state. I want out of here so bad.
Not so popular right now. Trust me. Not so
That's not
popular.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And we're actually threatening another wave.
Oh,
You were in Baltimore at one time though, right? Or am I mistaken?
me?
Yes.
Benjamin?
Tamara.
No, I've always been in this boring
It's
state.
always been in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Always been here, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Looks like we have a question from Tanya. She says, what's your view on children's mental health going through this era?
Oh man, that's an excellent question. Thank you, Tanya. I think it's very poor at this point. Like, our kids are so conditioned in the United States to do whatever they please. Like, they can go wherever they want, they can eat whatever they want, they can go whenever they want. To be on lockdown like this is just really like a jail for all of us. I'm gonna, like, this is a little bit of a side joke. I'm gonna, like, cross out part of my camera because, like, I love how he laughs up there, and, like, it's I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. But I think our kids, you know, are really feeling pretty imprisoned right now and kind of lost. If the adults are feeling lost and scattered, our kids are going to feel that way too, because they draw a lot of their energy from us. So I really don't think that their mental health is doing very well at this point. And let me just briefly throw in here cyber schooling. A lot of parents are ill-equipped. Yes, Jay. A lot of parents
wasn't ready. To me,
yes.
the parents wasn't ready, because now you really have to be active with your children.
Yes.
Look up there. I'm sorry. So where I'm sitting, Jermaine's over here.
Yes.
Look up there.
Yeah.
You have to be active with your children. You still have to do stuff like get them up and say, yo, it's time for you to log in. Because if not, they're going to drag their feet. This is like, right. Snow days to the second power.
Hey, look, I'm having to relearn, and math went. I can be honest, math wasn't my strongest suit, and I'm having to relearn this new stuff they doing. I'm like, man, what is this? So I'm on Google and YouTube, but I tell them, and my kids they'll come up here and they'll tell you, I'm like, man, y'all got it so easy, y'all don't know. I said, y'all homeschool. I said, y'all got cell phones. I said, the answer right here. I say everybody should be making A's.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It shouldn't be an F in the house. Everybody should be making A's. The answer right here.
Wow, Jermaine.
Hey.
Well, I mean, I have college students I see for counseling.
What you said, bro.
Hey,
they're cheating.
Hey, I'm not board certified to teach. I'm sorry.
I love
There's a second part to Tanya's question. She was asking, do you notice more mental health issues, I guess, with kids, and how can parents get through the process with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have noticed a lot of kids. I see ages 5 and up. So I have never had as many 5, 7, 10, and 11-year-olds crying, suicidal, cutting themselves, feeling depressed, wanting to give up, failing in school. I mean, these are beautiful children, but they are suffering. African American, Caucasian, Indian kid, like it's across the board. How do we help these kids? I think number one is just the parents buckling down with their kids through this storm. I have so many parents that say, get on the computer, get on the cell phone, do your schoolwork. I'll see you after you're done. And that's not enough. I think kids need to kind of be hovered over a little bit because they're not used to this switch.
Yes.
So kind of, being at their side is it's a lot of support. Jermaine, you look like God, no. But
and the only reason why I do, because and Jay and Food, they gonna laugh and they can't say it on live, but I'm working from home too. So
yes.
I can't hover like I need to.
So true. So true, Jermaine.
So funny. Yeah.
It is. I mean, in a situation like that, that's where I say, while you're on a call or you're online, send your kid a text.
Yeah.
Are you doing okay in there? Yes. That's
Yeah.
it. It's presence. Give them your presence.
And that's the thing too, for a lot of the kids, like technically having to be around your parent all day.
That's so true.
But it can go the other way around too.
Yeah.
Very true.
True.
Based on what you're saying, because this is where I find I need a bit of clarity.
Yes.
I hear a lot of children, younger kids, and they will say, I'm stressed out. Here's my thing. I want to find where was that disconnect at, because I remember worrying about a few things as a kid, but these kids are stressing out like they're adults. Like, I never really felt that pressure per se, if you want to call it that, until college. That was different. But stressed out, no. But it seems like now kids are taking on the traits or whatever of adults.
Yes, that's excellent.
But where is that quote unquote stress coming from is my question.
Honestly, I think it's two things. I think our kids are way more mature than their chronological age. And I also think it's being connected to social media. I think they're taking in a lot of information that maybe we didn't have access to. We didn't have cell phone. I mean, I'm 35, so I'm not guessing anybody's age here, but I think we're all around the same age. Somewhere we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have access to like social media platforms to be able to plug into everybody's life, the news, what's the newest fad, what's popular, what's not. Then they also have these social media platforms where they're connecting with other kids that say things, bully them, harass them. So that is stress. School is stress. Mom and dad's issues are stress. I just think kids of today's world, they're more mature than maybe we were at their age.
Okay, and I need a little bit of clarity. You just said you just mentioned a word that I really don't agree with as far as the way that they push it. What is your classification of bullying as a therapist?
Well, it's not somebody called me a name, mom and dad. That's not it. I think bullying has to just be repeated and incidents that happens over time that causes some kind of pain.
The reason why I asked that, because I can remember growing up, and I always said when people talking to you in a bad way, it helps build up your defense system. And the way I look at it, like, I think it's different now because it seems as if they're so quick to say it's bullying. My definition of bullying is when you got 10 cats in front of you and it's getting ready to go down. Like that, to me, words. And but I think that boils down to the individual too. Words to me, that's not bullying to me. But like I said, but I know other people look at it differently. That's
Yeah.
why I asked you that, because I wanted to hear from your standpoint from a clinical aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. From a clinical aspect, it could be anything that is repeated over time and it causes some kind of physical, psychological, or emotional pain. That's bullying. That's bullying. I honestly, if you have 10 people standing in front of you and they're getting ready to jump you, that is harassment.
Yeah. Actually, that's you about to get your ass kicked.
Nah, no.
That's not bullying.
If it's 10 against me,
That
one of
ain't
them gonna
bullying.
get it like me.
They finna come at you.
So on that subject, so my soon to be 17-year-old daughter, we pulled her out of formal school in the 8th grade because she was having issues in middle school. Now she's an empath. She takes on everybody's issues. So she found that to be too much because all of her friends were saying, "Hey, I'm taking these pills because mom and dad doing this, blah blah blah," and it just became too much for her. So she's been
Yeah.
home. She's been homeschooling since the 8th grade, and
Wow.
so I can like I said, the access that these kids have to a whole lot of stuff. Like when we were growing up, when your parents argue, you probably could feel the tension, but you ain't hear it. You ain't know what was going on. Just
Yeah.
y'all go outside and play or whatever. But now these kids, they know. It's
They
like
take it to heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very involved.
Yes. Yes. I had a 5-year-old come in last week and I asked her, I says, can you tell me why you're so sad? And she started crying and she said, Mom and Dad need to get their marriage together.
mm,
5.
5.
Five.
Wow.
5.
5. And I don't have a couch in my office because I see so many little people, children and teens. So I have like a futon and she's so cute. She was sitting there with her little leg crossed. Like she's a grown woman and she says, Mom and Dad needs to get their marriage together.
Mm.
That's
I
why
would
I'm
think
glad I
that
have therapy.
she's heard that from somewhere.
Exactly.
I would think maybe grandma. I don't know. I'm
Maybe.
still
Yeah.
investigating.
One
I
of
don't
the
know.
mothers, one of the grandmas or something.
Yeah. And,
I'm a
and
grandmother myself, and I've said things on the side, and so I often forget that my own 5-year-old he's a little sponge.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he repeats things.
And I have to say, and both of these two guys, they know me pretty well. I got a thing for kids. I got a thing for protecting
Yes.
kids, and I
Yes.
have an issue with all the stuff. And this may be a touchy subject, and if you don't want to touch on it, that's fine. But
Sure.
I have an issue with certain things being pushed on kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5-year-old, shouldn't be knowing about identity issues and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, I knew to go outside and play. I knew what my private part was for me to use the bathroom. That's what I knew it was for. I ain't know nothing else about it. But
Very innocent.
now that I feel like the innocence is being taken from our kids
Mm-hmm.
with an agenda in mind. That's just my thought.
Yes.
I don't know how anybody else feel, but I think it's just an agenda being pushed on our kids, and
Yes.
I don't like it. I don't like it, and it's unfair to them for a kid not to be able to be a freaking kid. I shouldn't have to watch Sesame Street and be worried. Oh, is this person is trans? All this kind of stuff. Why? It's frustrating to say the least. To be a parent, in these days and time with little small kids and having this stuff pushed on them, you can't really control it, especially if the kids are going to school. You don't know what these teachers and are telling them, or the other little kids are saying. So,
yes. Jermaine, can I offer a website about this as well?
sure.
Am I getting that you're talking about transgenderism?
Yes.
And identity,
Identity.
and gender identity, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. I'm really split in my field when it comes to this. I'm going to offer a website, then I can explain my position on it. Sexchangeregret.org. Sexchangeregret.org. So I am of the belief, and this is just based on all my years of training and education and seeing kids who claim to be transgender, that, and I counsel my kids this way too, that you're always going to be what you're born as, no matter what you do to yourself. No matter what you do, no matter surgery, how you dress, whatever, you're still going to be that biological individual, whether that's female or male. All you're doing is changing the external pieces to satisfy a need. To satisfy a need. When my kids come to me and say, I think that I'm really a boy and it's a girl and she's 6 or she's 7 or she's 8, I try to help the parents not discourage the child, but redirect that energy somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because because I think with social media and other kids hearing things, with the LGBTQ movement so widely available,
Yeah.
our kids are honestly, for me, their little souls are, for lack of a clinical term, kind of possessed by this movement. And they're coming out left and right. I'm transgender. And it's just not. So
I sort of see it as a saturation.
yes.
Like you just said, it's so readily available. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, listen, first of all, I want to say this. There's nothing wrong with it. What you identify with, do you. Whatever you're comfortable with. But I think where my line is drawn completely in the sand is when it comes to children.
Yes.
These children, they don't know, like Jermaine, what you were saying, they know, they just learned to use the bathroom by themselves a few years ago. So now you're trying to tell me that this one can step to the front. And it was a video that I think main one you sent it to me, or Fu, you sent it to me. And it was like a little 5-year-old, and he's coming up to the front of the congregation or whatever it was that was going on, and he goes, the mother is saying it. The mothers are saying, "Oh, well, tell them what you told us the other day." And the little kid is like, he has his back to the audience, and he goes, "I don't want to be called he. I want to be called she." And I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
And I'm like, wait, is this? I'm not going to say that parents are doing this, but with it being so saturated right now in our world, nothing wrong with it. There needs to be outlets for people. There needs to be movements here and there for people. But when it comes to the children, I got my line drawn. They draw lines in the sand for using tobacco, alcohol, all that.
Right.
I want my line drawn in the sand because I want to talk to my own child. I want to be there for my own child to say, hey, let's talk about this. Because please believe it, if the child happens just to come to you and say, hey, I want to be a this and that, let's explore it. But what I will not do is put that in their head at all. Right. And I feel like that's what a lot of parents are doing. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. And I'm like you, Jermaine. I don't like it.
No, me neither.
What's the youngest a person, as far as a client, has ever come in there and they question their sexuality? I'm
10 years.
Okay, so here's my question with that. I'm speaking from me just on some common sense stuff to a therapist. I want to hear your classification. I've always said when children talk about their sexual preference per se at an early age, I always ask them, how do you know if you haven't experienced it yet? How do you know? So, but that's me. That's just me from comments like if a girl says I only like girls. If you never had sex with a man, how do you know that you don't like that? How do you know how do you know what that's like? So that's the way I say it. As far as you from a therapist, how does the conversation like that go?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell them, number one, you're not emotionally mature enough to be able to make that determination. Number two, you're not mature enough to tease apart what you desire versus what you're being influenced to desire.
Right.
So you're not old enough to tease that apart. And so my 10-year-old that came to me 2 years ago, she's now 13. She wants to be a boy. And she's done everything under the sun she could possibly think of, even getting binders to stop the natural growth of her chest, because that's how desperate she wants to be a boy. But what our counseling is trying to help her tease apart, what do you desire versus what are you influenced to desire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope I answered that right.
You
That's perfect.
absolutely did very, very eloquently too, because
Thank you.
it angers me.
Yeah.
When I seen the video, I'm like, oh no, I'm over this. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I have children, my friends have children, I have grandkids, and it's like, I don't want you. This is just a subject that needs to be, really handled by the parents. I do not want this in the schools. I do not
Yeah.
agree with that. I don't think you should be teaching that.
Right.
Yeah.
As of right, as of right now.
And if you even and I'm not a doctor, but I know how to read, and I know that the human brain is not even fully developed until to 25, and sometimes after 25. So you don't even know what you want,
Right.
at a certain stage in your life, because everything is a stage. Every
Yes.
process you go through in life is stages, and some people not even fully developed at 30.
Very true.
That's what I question it. I'm like, a 5-year-old, come on, that little boy, he didn't know. It's
No.
like, he didn't know.
Well, I mean, there's something known as a wrongful life lawsuit. I don't know if you guys have heard of those. It's basically there's a history. If I can find it, I'll send it to you, Jermaine, so that you can post it maybe. But there's a case where there was a young boy. He, at the age of 6 years old, said, I want to be transgender. I want to be a girl. He begged his parents so much that they got the surgery. They gave him the hormones. They had everything reconstructed. And when he hit 18, he realized, oh, wait a minute. I would rather be a boy. And he sued his parents over $1 million for a
Wow.
wrongful life. It's called a wrongful life lawsuit.
Did he win? Did he win the lawsuit?
He won the lawsuit because what the judge determined is that he was not mature enough to make that determination. And the parents took his life and did what they thought they should do.
Wow. And it ain't no coming back from that. Once you do that, ain't no coming back.
At all.
You said you've been a therapist for 13 years?
13 years, yes.
So you saying pretty much since what, about 2008?
Well, let's see. Since I was 19.
The reason that I'm asking you that, because I want you to kind of talk on the change that you've seen over the years, because you kind of got in when social media started, but not to the height that it is now. So I would assume that you've seen like a shift, a major shift in what social media has done to people's lives.
100%. So I started when I was 19. I worked in a child development facility. I was not licensed, credentials. I just had a high school diploma. Like, kids were so innocent. And then by college graduation, which was 2014, I started going into like schools and delinquency centers and I saw social media changing the lives of kids. Then I hit grad school. And then when I graduated, I did a lot of training and opened my practice, and the list goes on. All throughout those years, kids have shifted a great deal. I don't think I've ever seen so much desire to be transgender. I've never seen so much online social media confusion ever before. I think it has shifted a great deal over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever given the advice for parents to limit their children's time on social media?
Yes. I think that's a great question, because I think kids should have at least during the whole week, maybe 10 hours or less.
Really?
Maybe 10 hours or less. And I'm saying that just based on the pandemic, because our kids have nothing else to do, so to keep them from desiring to try drugs or to watch pornography or to fill their lives with something that's wrong, 10 hours of social media a week should be fine. Or less.
You just said something that I think is not talked about enough. You mentioned what they're doing and what they're consuming.
Yeah.
If y'all really think about it, it's more dangerous for these kids to be on social media than it is for them to do drugs or drink alcohol. Because if you overconsume it, it can kill you, literally. And that's crazy that's actually an option based on it's something that you see. But something that you see too much can actually hurt you.
Right.
Yeah. I actually think it's all in the same pile.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And addiction to social media, drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, porn addiction. Like, I think it's all in the same pile.
Yeah, because I often do see things about, teenagers and kids committing suicide over social media. Over social media.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think that's why platforms like Instagram has limited, who can see your likes and this and that, because they're trying to combat that. I think I think you're absolutely right. It's an issue.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, look, no questions, no more questions.
No, I mean a couple of comments, but no questions. I don't see any. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people was ready for this, and it's Friday. Don't nobody want to listen to no counseling session when they out partying.
Yeah, they trying to get their weekend started, right? So we gonna have to wait till Tamara's schedule clears up a little bit, and we're gonna have to get her on the Monday show. Where
that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we definitely hope you consider coming back to talk to us, because this would be, I think, more people need the outlet. And again, like anyone you were saying, you don't have to come on camera. You can, hear your voice or put it right in the chat or whatever. We'll ask anything as long as it's not as long as it's in the realms of something that we can ask.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out with us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Try to unplug a little bit.
No, a hot bath and some water. That's all I'm desperate for right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm so boring. Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are great.
No
We
problem.
definitely appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No problem. And
until next time.
And for everybody who joined us, we appreciate y'all checking out our Friday show, and we'll see you guys on either Saturday or Sunday for the weekend review. So we'll let you guys know when the weekend review.
Absolutely.
Till then, you guys, good night.
Good night.
Bye,
Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you.